I can just jump into the next topic because all of this part needs into the work, like some sort of like entrepreneurship or leadership for you to lead these tools. You have to have like this. You have to have some sort of like knowledge what's going on to drive the development of your product, the development of your solution, to make a better execution of what you're building. So like you being in this position of leadership and you leading these changes on the company, current company that you're working with, and so what would be the advice you give for someone who looking to start to start reaching out for more leadership positions on the companies they work with today, or they wanted to learn how to become a leader as well?
Yeah. Good question. I get this quite a bit. A lot of people forget there's a couple of paths you can take to
Mm.
leadership. You don't have to be a manager, leader in a place either. And I think I'll just start with that caveat
Yeah.
is there is the path of going to staff engineer, which often pays much better than management roles or leadership roles as well. So if you're an engineer or a nerd that likes building, I love building stuff as well.
Mm-hmm.
I just got pulled more so into the community aspect side of things. So like I love people as well. And it
Mm-hmm.
really tears me apart to try and have to pick which do I prefer. Do I prefer solving problems or the people aspect? So the first question I think when you're looking at the path of leadership is like, why do you want to uh, become a leader? What is it
Mm.
that you want to do? Like if it's to get like for me it was I want to teach and help people build up people around me,
Mm.
and because I knew my personal um, yeah, I had a finite time that I could spend on developing cool solutions, and I knew
Yeah.
much smarter people than me that could build way better than me,
Mm.
but I could nudge them in the right direction
I
and
see.
help with everything else. But there is the other path of just going and being a leader as a developer. So I'm going to focus more on like the management side
All
because
right.
that's the way I focused on it.
Definitely.
And the way I would say to get opportunities is to not ask for permission a lot of the time and start taking more responsibility and trying to come with solutions to things. So a lot of times, I think developers were very guilty of getting uh, guided by the details. We see a
Mm.
problem, we want an output. We forget to go up a level and start thinking about value.
I
So I
see.
always say when you're starting to think of leadership and building teams and building products, what is the value add that you're bringing?
Mm.
How are you making the impact as that leader as well? And how can you make sure that the focus of the team you're managing is being spent correctly?
I see.
If you disagree with the focus, you should usually speak up and things like that. And I found just being very vocal about where I think we could have improvements and things like that accelerated my career in management and leadership. Like it was a space of 3 or 4 years that I went from like a senior software engineer
Mm-hmm.
up to close to an executive level. And it was just more when I started to pivot and focus on the value add rather
Mm.
than the pieces or the components that we're building.
Mm-hmm. I see what you mean. Yeah. You talking right now, remember this video from Steve Jobs saying that leaders they usually they don't like to be leaders. They just become leaders because they has to. So they see like there's a path that can be followed. So they go there and they follow this path, and they, like you said, they don't ask for permission, and then they just do it, and then they become leaders. And that's interesting because yeah, I've been having the experience on the community building and on my job as well, and it's very important to see as well the leader you wanted to be too. Like sometimes people just want to be leader just to be a leader, just to be in a higher position in the company because that's the path to go. You know what I mean? And sometimes it's not much like that, right?
Yeah, it's absolutely not like I think most of the time it's not like at all. You end up falling in. Like I never when I became a head of product, for instance,
Mm-hmm.
that wasn't my plan. I was a tech
Okay.
lead at the time, and the company promoted me because I kept on annoying them about how they could improve their product. So instead of instead of just being like, shut up and do your work, they're like, you know what, we're just going to pay you to do what you're doing anyway because you won't stop.
It's
And
true.
I relentlessly just wanted to improve the product, and I legitimately just wanted to improve the product. It wasn't me playing political games, which often
Mm-hmm.
happens. It was a case of, I think there's an opportunity here that we're totally missing,
Mm.
and I pushed along those buttons and accidentally ended up in leadership roles. Then from there on out.
All right.
Um, yeah, the community though helps. I think you start seeing that when you start looking at people and managing events. You're
Mm-hmm.
like, people are hard.
Yes.
So it's
Yes.
sometimes code is a lot easier because at least it gives you clear signals when it's wrong.
Yeah, it's true. And yeah, so for example.